This is a place for planting, for digging, for harvesting, for relaxing. It's a place to get your hands dirty, but most of all, it's about having fun. And that's what you'll always have when you're in the garden with Doug Oster. You want a green thumb too, don't you? Well, what a difference a week makes. Last week we were out in just a sweater. Now we're wearing winter clothes, and the season is over for annuals, finally, and it was a very long season. So in these containers, we're going to just start pulling this stuff out, and I thought today would be a good day to talk about composting, and that's where these plants are going to go. And we've got a lot of them throughout the garden to get out of here. Next spring, I'll take about 25% of this soil out, fill it up with some new stuff, add some granular fertilizer, and it'll be fine for annual flowers. And of course, we're leaving our perennial ivy in here, but I'm going to move this into the unheated greenhouse. But right now, off to the compost pile. Anything that once was living will become compost. We're saving just about everything out of the kitchen except for meat, dairy, and oils, because that can attract rodents in here, but I don't have any problem even in the woods here. Anything from the garden that is not diseased goes in here too. That's what we're going to do from our annuals. And it'll take about a year to fill this up. Once it's filled, we stop. We've got a bin over here. We'll start filling that one up, and eventually we'll get compost. It is the best way to recycle because you get the direct benefit. When we save our bottles and our cans, newspapers, we're doing it because we think it's a good thing to do, but in this case, nothing leaves the site. We're reducing half of what we used to take out to the landfill, and then in a year, we have compost, which we'll add into the garden. Now, next up, a new way to deal with deer. I actually had to come back because I saw this. This is an avocado that sprouted and made it through the frost, believe it or not. I'm going to go inside and pot this up. Then we will see how we deal with the deer. Well, on our way up to test out our new deer product, I wanted to show off this Japanese maple we put in maybe about a month and a half ago. It's called Bee Hue, and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. In the winter, the bark turns orange, and I'm telling you what, it is a stunner. And then next to it is a job that we're not going to do next, so take a look. One of the great debates in the garden is, when do we cut down our ornamental grasses? Some people like to do it now, but I always wait until the spring because I love the way they look during the winter. They're also a great habitat for beneficial insects. Now, let's deal with our new deer product. Well, I've certainly chronicled my struggles with the deer this season. They're already after my rhododendrons here, and I talked to a couple nurseries about what they're using to keep the deer off. My friends at Plumline Nursery and Jim Jenkins Garden Center recommend this deer off, and how it works is the repellent is underneath here, so the weather can't get to it. You put it on a little stick like this, stick it right in here, and every 4 to 8 feet you have one of these. And as I said, since it's protected from the elements, it still smells, and it doesn't smell bad right now, but hopefully we'll keep the deer off here. And I'm going to put them around here and we'll give them a good test. The nice thing is, they're supposed to last anywhere from 4 to 6 months. So this will be a great test over the winter to see if they'll leave this up. I hope they do, because I would love to see blooms. All right, it'll be interesting to see how these work. Now, our next segment is all about wildlife that we actually want to attract. There are 3 things birds need: some shelter in the form of evergreens, some food, and we're giving them lots of seed, and some water. And every year I put this heater in this fountain so the birds and some other wildlife can enjoy a good drink when they need one, and that will attract more birds. Now we have another wildlife issue right behind us. Well, flowering kale loves cold weather, but something loves flowering kale. Look at it, it's a squirrel or chipmunk or something has stripped it. I don't even think it's eating it, just pulling it off. But we've got other types of flowering kale in the garden that are doing fine, but you just can't win sometimes. Let's finish up. I'll meet you in the vegetable garden. Well, it might be cold out here, but looks pretty good in here. Check that out. Our Swiss chard and mustard greens and parsley, rosemary, all look good. Watch yourself, Max. In here we had some mesclun mix that we started. Got some lettuce in the back, more herbs. It's great to have something going like this when it's this cold out here. Now check me out online. That's where you can find other blog posts, stories, and videos, and be part of my Everybody Garden subscription. Until next week, well, I got plenty to do, and it's mostly about leaves, and I'll probably add about half of them to the compost. We'll see you then.